Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be telling you if I think Cedar Fair ruined or saved Kings Island. First, I'm going to start off with what the original owners did right. So I'm going to start with Tap Broadcasting, the Kings Entertainment Company, and Paramount. I'm going to talk about what those owners did right, and I'm going to talk about what Cedar Fair has done differently that's good, and what they've done differently that's bad. So first, let's talk about the Tap Broadcasting Company. So the Tap Broadcasting Company really started the park, and this was big news at the time, because this was another major park in Ohio that was competing against Cedar Point, which was a big thing. And they started off right by building a massive wooden roller coaster in the Racer, because this kind of became a craze after the Racer opened in 1972, because there was many other giant racing wooden roller coasters opening, such as the one at Kings Dominion, Rebel Yell, now known as something Racer, I don't know. But yeah, Rebel Yell opened, and then a few other ones opened too. And then you can't talk about Kings Island without their record breaking with the Kings Entertainment Company and Tap Broadcasting, because they were very similar. Like, Tap Broadcasting built the Screamin' Demon, which was the first ever launch coaster. It's known as one of the first, if not the first, launch coaster. And this was very shocking because Kings Island was a leader in innovation. Let's look at Paramount for a second. The Tomb Raider ride. That was probably the best themed ride in Kings Island history. It had amazing theming for the time period. And it also wasn't a totally themed dark ride. It was also a pretty thrilling ride because it was a top spin. Those are pretty extreme rides, if I'm being honest. I've never been on one, but they definitely look like intense rides, and the theming in there was on point. You can even see some of it when you go in the haunt. That thing at the beginning of the haunt, that giant animatronic monster thing, that is actually from the Tomb Raider ride, and that is very interesting because that's one of the best animatronic, best things at Kings Island, theming wise, and it's not even for the haunt. Next, let's talk about, you can't talk about either the Kings Entertainment Company and Tap Broadcasting without talking about the 1981 Bat. This was the first suspended coaster in the world. And why is this important? Because this meant that Kings Island was a leader in innovation. And this was big because now they're kind of a follower in the industry. Kings Island was once a leader. And yes, the Bat did have many problems, but that's what you get for building a prototype and taking risks. Kings Island doesn't do that anymore. Look at the Beast. The Beast opened as the world's tallest, fastest, and longest wooden roller coaster. Now, it's no longer the tallest or fastest, but it was big news at the time. And it still holds the record as the longest wooden roller coaster, and is one of the most popular rides at Kings Island. And Cedar Fair would not do something like that. Now let's talk about what Cedar Fair has done right and wrong. First, Cedar Fair has built some amazingly smooth rides. The only one that I would say is was rough or is bad, it was Firehawk. Firehawk was a rough ride, and that's not even really Cedar Fair's fault, because that is a relocated coaster from the old Geauga Lake, and that was not a ground-up coaster that they chose to build. They just sent it to Kings Island because they didn't want it to go to waste, and they had to do something with it, and they thought Kings Island would be a good fit. This was kind of a mechanical issue and caused many issues for the park. Let's get to the other coasters, though. It started with Diamondback in 2009. Diamondback is a massive B&M coaster, but it was one of the later hyper coasters. It's not the tallest, it's not the fastest, and it's not something special. It's an amazing ride, don't get me wrong. It's a smooth, amazing ride. It's just not anything special. And let's talk about Banshee. Banshee replaced Son of Beast. Now, you may be saying that Son of Beast was a rough wooden roller coaster. Yes, it was. But it did hold the record for the tallest and fastest wooden roller coaster up until its closing. So why couldn't Banshee do the same thing? It could have been the tallest, and it could have been the fastest. As tribute, they could have built a hyper inverted roller coaster. Now, let's talk about Mystic Timbers. Mystic Timbers is not a record breaker, but it is still an enjoyable ride filled with airtime. Kings Island could have done something special with the shed too. They could have put an inversion in there, like a vertical loop as tribute to Son of Beast would have been really cool. Now, the shed is definitely better than other things Cedar Fair has done, and the theming has gotten better. However, the shed is way more disappointing, especially considering the way they advertised it. Now let's talk about Orion, the B&M Giga Coaster. This is the one problem I have with Kings Island, is they did not take the risks there. They could have built a 326 326-foot Giga Coaster and made everybody happy. They could have broken the world record for the tallest Giga Coaster the tallest coaster with a lift hill in the world. This would have been an amazing feat for Kings Island and something that Cedar Fair should have been considered and something that Kings Island definitely needed. Has Cedar Fair done a better job than the other parks managing the park? Yes. But what disappoints me is that Kings Island has went from a leader in innovation to one of the followers in the industry. They don't break records and they don't even try. Kings Island had many chances to break records. They could have done with Banshee and Orion or Mystic Timbers if they really felt like it. Now, I'm not saying that Cedar Fair has done a bad job, but they have not done the best job. They have done an amazing job running the park, but overall, the rides and the placement of them and the way they are done is not the best. And yes, they are amazing B&M roller coasters. However, Kings Island had many chances to break roller coaster records, and if it was Paramount, they would have done it with Orion, Mystic Timbers, Banshee. And that's the big problem that Cedar Fair has, is they could go get a prototype model. The Axis coaster's out there. They could go get one of those. And it's not really a prototype, but a Mach Extreme Spinner would be another great addition. There's not many of them out there, but they do trust Mach more than you think they would. This would be another great addition. Build the tallest and fastest spinning coaster in the world. And another thing, they could build the world's tallest and fastest RMC hybrid as well. They aren't going to do it because of Steel Vengeance. I think the big problem with Cedar Fair is they don't want to beat Cedar Point. Bye guys, thank you for watching.